What's going on, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Jake and Joe Bengals postgame show, coming to you after a depressing, dejecting Week 3 Monday Night Football loss. The first time they've lost on Ring of Honor night. An embarrassing performance from the defense. We will have plenty of time to discuss everything that went wrong. Appreciate everybody for coming out to the Jake and Joe postgame show presented by First Star Logistics. Every week the Bengals play, we will have this show for you here on the First Star Logistics YouTube page. We'll have giveaways for you every week. You won't want to miss them. This week we got the WWE title belt. We'll be giving one away here on the stream live. We'll also have in the coming weeks a tailgate kit. We've got some Bengals themed Xboxes is for the second straight week. I left the YouTube page open and we got me talking coming through my microphone. Apologies for that. The Bengals theme Xbox for you coming in week 5. I won't make that mistake next week. And what's our keyword today to enter the YouTube giveaway? I don't think anyone has provided that one for me yet. So we'll let you know what that keyword is as soon as I'm aware of what it is. It might be hashtag Ring of Honor. Looks like that might be what it is, but I will let you know when I get that confirmed over here. Joe, while we wait to get that confirmed, and the people are following the First Star Logistics social media pages so they can enter these future giveaways at First Star Log on every social media platform, following Dave Lapham at DL in the Trenches, following you, following me, so they can get in on those future giveaways. What is your big takeaway watching this game down at Paycor Stadium?
How horrible the defense was, right? I mean, if I told you, Jake, before this game started that the Bengals are not going to punt, they're going to have over 400 and something yards, and they're going to score 33 points, I think every single person would say big win for the Bengals on Monday Night Football if you tell me that's the case. But when there's no punts in the game at all, neither team punt, you don't seem like you really have a plan to contain Jaden Daniels. You know what it is? It's as I'm watching the game, I'm just going, they're just not talented enough on defense. And what that leaves you with is I have to call, or Lou has to call, exotic things in order to manufacture and create some pressure and create some hesitation from a rookie quarterback. And what that leaves you with is sending the house on your last defensive play, or doing whatever you can to send blitzes in the second half there. And it's not like they didn't have chances to get a stop. They had 3 fourth down plays that they converted on all 3. The Commanders did. Like, those were your chances. And people are going to talk about the field goals and 2-point conversion because you lose by 5 points. And those are really the only issues with the offensive output is not getting into the end zone. But you're demanding perfection at that point on the offense when the defense is that bad. That's like a Chuck Bresnahan defensive performance. We haven't seen that in 15 plus years at this point.
Yeah, that was not a great defensive performance. Can I just get people in the chat to quickly confirm for me that the audio sounds okay for Joe? He's in the car there as he is leaving from Paycor Stadium. It sounds okay to me. Just want to confirm with our audience here, for those of you in the chat, that sounds okay. And I did confirm in the meantime that our keyword, our hashtag to enter the giveaway here to have a chance to win that WWE Bengals theme title belt. Thank you for the confirmation, chat. Appreciate you. Is hashtag Ring of Honor. We got that scrolling on the Chiron, I think they call that in the biz, down at the bottom of the screen there. Gary Owen was with the guys at the game today to give away the belt. So for the Twitter giveaway, that one is done. That one is given away. There's a YouTube short out there. You can check for that one. Joe, you mentioned the defensive line when you were talking about your big takeaway, and that is also my focus. It was not just the defensive line, it was the entire team. But going into this game, I did a Washington Commanders, preview show. I joined some Commanders guys for a podcast, and something I said then was, if you block Trey Hendrickson and you can take him out of a game, the Bengals have nothing on the defensive line in the pass rush. Jaden Daniels in this game was over 3 seconds, according to PFF, for his time to throw. That was 2.78 on non-pressured passes and 3.9 or something. Let's see if I still have it here. 3.98 on pressured passes as he was able to extend plays and find time. But that also tells you how late it took the Bengals to get pressure. He was able to sit there in clean pockets for 3 seconds. Joe Burrow's time to throw in this game overall was at 2 seconds. Jaden Daniels held the ball for an additional full second before he had to throw the ball. And even then, some of that was because guys got open, not because pressure got there. And credit Jaden Daniels. He made an incredible throw. when the Bengals sent the house on that last play that mattered, I guess. Geno Stone comes off the edge, has a shot, and it's a perfect throw. Dax Hill bites on a double move. He's on an island. He's defending the sticks. I understand why you would do that there. You would like a better play from Dax. Sure, he's lucky he didn't get called for DPI anyway, but great throw from Jaden Daniels. You have to credit it. But the takeaway from the Bengals perspective, which is what we care about, is that this defensive line is awful. It is not an NFL defensive line right now, and I know they're missing guys because of injury, but they have tackling issues that are going to come up from time to time. Week 1, week 3, tackling issues, not as bad in week 2. They lost 2 more defensive linemen in week 2. They've got 2 on the injured reserve. They got a guy off the street playing for them. They got 2 more that couldn't play this week that were supposed to be their starters, while DJ Reader is playing good ball up in Detroit. Jesse Bates is making plays for the Atlanta Falcons. And we're seeing the attrition of talent between the secondary and especially up front coming back to bite them. They do not have NFL caliber defensive linemen right now. As a result, they could not get any pressure to make the rookie quarterback uncomfortable. They were playing vanilla stuff. They were behind the chains. And even when they got ahead of the chains, the Commanders were converting 2nd and 10s because Daniels could stand back there for 3 seconds. Nobody can cover for 3 seconds. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care how good you are. And that comes back to the Bengals defensive line. People that have watched me for a long time know that it takes a lot to get me fired up. This is where we are right now. They're 0-3, 4 teams, as young John Breach. John Breach, is that the son's name? Let's make sure I have that right. Bad at names. John Breach, yes, son of Jim Breach, points out on Twitter, 4 teams in the last 40 years have started 0-3 and made the playoffs. And that assumes that the path to do that is fixing the defense. Even if they fix the defense, that is an incredible uphill climb. And there is no sign that salvation is coming for this defense, Joe.
Because even the players they've drafted or signed to be the fix, right? Well all off season, we got to fix the safeties. It's the communication. Those are the issues. Have we seen Geno Stone make a play yet this year? Has Von Bell even appeared to look like a serviceable or plus addition to this defense? Sure, communication may be better on the back half, but when they can isolate Von Bell and attack him on 3rd downs with Zach Ertz, who is also an aging tight end. It's not like we're talking about a young athletic tight end here anymore. Like, that's not good. And then of the best draft picks, because they've poured defensive picks on that side of the ball recently, the best one, Cam Taylor-Britt, 2 weeks in a row, he's getting beat deep. Like, you can't have that. And at the run, the first touchdown run for Austin Eckler, the one that goes on the left side, you see Von Bell just missile inside, and then Cam Taylor-Britt follows him. So if communication is supposed to be fixed, and those are 2 of your like one of your best rookie or young draft picks on the defensive side, Cam Taylor-Britt, and your answer at safety for the communication issues, well, that's still an issue, and it's run defense this time, and it's something new each time, because I think they're trying to help out the interior defensive line. They're trying to do extra. You're trying to do more and more. And in football, when you start to try and do someone else's job, you're no longer doing your job. And that play, I think, is going to be one I'm going to highlight in the film review, because you just see everyone dive inside, and Eckler just takes one bounce to the left and goes in for the touchdown. And you're right to bring up Hendrickson in the pass rush, too, because the way Washington was like, we're going to play action away from him. We're going to boot away from him. We're going to put an extra tight end over there, a running back to chip. There was at times he had to fight off 2 extra blockers, and then the left tackle knocked him into the ground. And I just saw Hendrickson walk off with he's had enough at that point. He's the only help out there. And on the final couple of drives, he was barely out there until it was 3rd down. So the guy's taking a beating. And at this point, you cannot afford to lose Trey Hendrickson. They're really holding on for, I don't know what the salvation is. You said, what is coming? What's going to fix it? Is it McKinley Jackson with 2 hands? I'm sorry, Chris Jenkins with 2 hands? Is it McKinley Jackson getting back to full health? No, those aren't the answers. The answers aren't on the team right now, and I don't know if they're going to be this year.
Yeah, and they are not a team that makes in-season trades. And we will, over the next 4 weeks, talk about, oh, this is a year where they could do it, right? They got T. Higgins. Maybe they win next week. Maybe. I don't know. Andy Dalton, pretty good quarterback, apparently. If This is the world we live in now. Had a great week in his first start for the Panthers. And if they can start to build something, then maybe you can start to talk yourself into this idea that they can make a splashy move to try to patch things together here and add a foundational piece of this defense. But that is not that's not in the Bengals DNA either. Quick reminder here as we're getting into the show that you can use hashtag in the chat Ring of Honor, as the Bengals inducted a couple more players into the Ring of Honor tonight, Corey Dillon and Tim Crumry. Congratulations to those guys, and a pretty cool event that they do. And you have a chance to win a WWE title belt. And we're going to be doing giveaways on social media as well, so make sure you're following First Star Log, myself, Jake Lisco, co-host here, Joe Goodberry, Dave Lapham at DL in the Trenches, and you can enter for Twitter giveaways as well. We also have some bobbleheads that we're giving away today. Forgot to mention that. We got a couple of extra winners here. We got that showing at the bottom of the screen there. We're going to have 4 winners of some bobbleheads here tonight as well. And I'm trying to come up with anything here, Joe. I mean, it's there's so many positives we could talk about, right? The offense found so much in the running game. They got some plays for Chase Brown. Joe Burrow looked, outside of like 2 throws, really good. They found Jamar Chase on the one-on-one opportunities and capitalized on them. T. Higgins ran digs. Missed T. Higgins running digs. Andre Yosevach made some plays for them, including a 4th down conversion. But it's hard to overlook how much of an Achilles heel this defense is going to be when every single metric is going to kill them after this game, except for one. And this is a shocking stat. The Commanders only averaged 3.4 yards per carry. Brian Robinson, 2.1 yards per carry. After Austin Eckler went out, they somehow were unable to find continued success in the run game, except every time they ran it in short yardage situations, which almost all of their money downs are short yardage situations. They seem to pick up those yards, whether it was Jaden Daniels going 12 carries, 39 yards. I wonder how many of those went for first downs, or it was Brian Robinson in short yardage situations. They sold out to stop the run, though. And you alluded to this earlier. When you sell out to stop the run, the way that they sold out to stop the run, you're going to suffer elsewhere. And that's why Jaden Daniels goes 21 for 23 for 11 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns.
You know, I think of the 2 tackle-eligible touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. Like, when do you see that? That should happen once every 5 years, maybe. Not back-to-back weeks. Did the Washington Commanders see something on tape and say, yeah, we could do this also? They're not going to fix this? Like, and then you don't fix it or whatever the issue was. The communication, again, we're supposed to have better communication this year, so we're
Lost you there for a second, Joe. Supposed to have better communication this year. Indeed. That was the salvation that we were sold all offseason, circling back to that word salvation. They told us that bringing Von Bell back, and he played fine for the first 2 weeks, I think, and it was magnified tonight. He was not as good in tonight's game. We lost Joe there. We will get him back as soon as possible. And the Von Bell issue, like I said, magnified tonight, gave up a bunch of catches, 3 catches and a touchdown, and just not good enough. Welcome back, Joe. You can pick up where you left off.
Yeah, just talking about the tackle eligible. The fact that they didn't fix communication again, right? That's supposed to be the area. That's supposed to be the strength. It seems slower at safety now. Jordan Battle's not playing, so Dax Hill's at corner because of these issues, and it's still not fixed completely. And there's no way you don't permanently fix communication. That's not a realistic expectation. But I think we can completely tear apart everything about this defense after this performance, because you're right. Like, I'm interested in what Joe Burrow is going to say. He's probably going to take the high road and say, I think I had a pretty good game. I think we did. And, we got to punch it in every chance we get. We can't rely on field goals. I got to make a better throw there to T. Higgins and let him catch it on whatever play he's going to bring up. But the truth is they were pretty damn good. Like, if the defense is even halfway decent today and the game goes 33 to 21, 24, I think we come out of this like, yeah, the offense found their footing. The offense is back. They're going to be okay. They can put up points. They can go over the top. The 12 personnel packages are working. Chase Brown is a 10-yard automatic every time he touches the ball. It feels like these are good things. The pass protection held up. Trent Brown went down, but I thought Marius Mims I had no issue with him the rest of the game. Like I didn't notice him at all, which is a good thing. I can't wait to watch that. But yeah, it's just what a horrendous performance by the defense. It's going to overshadow what we should be talking about with the offense and feeling good about them for the most part.
I mean, it's one of the worst performances we've seen from a Cincinnati Bengals defense in recent history. You can go back to the Mike White game with the New York Jets, perhaps as one that's comparable with a worse quarterback. I do think Jaden Daniels is a solid player, but you talked about communication, and we were sold all offseason on this idea that, oh yeah, they fixed communication, things will be better, which we were skeptical of in the first place, but we kept saying over and over, like, yeah, they keep talking about how good communication is now. So maybe that'll improve some things, but we'll see. I don't know if they did enough to make up for losing DJ Reader or for previous talent losses. Chidobe Awuzie, ACL, of course, causes them to lose his presence at the level he was a year earlier than he leaves the team. And then Jesse Bates as well, continuing to play at an all-pro level in Atlanta. But the communication that's not enough. And it's never going to be perfect, like you said, over a long enough time horizon. And it sucks because we could be talking about how Joe Burrow against the blitz tonight was awesome. 10 for 10 against the blitz, according to preliminary PFF charting, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 big-time throws against the blitz. I think that must be his 2 throws to Jamar Chase. He was good outside of structure. He was just good in this game outside of, again, just a couple of misses there. It was curious, and I'll mention this. I think I saw some people asking about it earlier. Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor went into a side room instead of going back into the locker room after the game. They had a private conversation there. I'm sure that Joe Burrow is more frustrated than all of us after that game. Threw his helmet last week when the DPI was called. This week can't feel much different. And it's just a shame that we can't talk about some of these positives and actually feel like it matters, because when you're 0-3 and the defense doesn't have any help coming, and there's no reason to really believe that it's going to get better. What's the reason for optimism? They've overcome similar hurdles in the past, sure, but this is now quite a big track record for this defense going back to after the Bills game last year, where they just don't seem good enough and things don't seem to be trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I guess we will probably circle back around to picking apart the offense a little bit in terms of there were a couple of throws I thought from Burrow, and the one to T where he could have got both feet down. I thought that was a little high. It was a weird miss, I think, to Zach Moss when he broke out of the pocket and was looking, maybe he didn't want Moss to catch it and didn't think he would go out of bounds and was trying to conserve time. There was one to Yoshi when he's, again, breaking the pocket and going left, and Yoshi's running with him, but Yoshi's in the path right behind the D end, I think that was. And Burrow tries to throw it behind him. It looked awkward, but after the play, as they're walking back, I saw Burrow talking to Yoshi, saying, like, I want you to slow down or sit down there. So maybe some miscommunication on the offensive side. I saw Chase take Yoshi to the side after that third down. It was that throw, the fade to Gesicki, where he gets hit on the sideline. So the first third down, I believe that was. And, we'd like Gesicki to come down with that as well if we're going to nitpick, because 3 weeks in a row now, there's some plays where, if you're a big possession receiver, well, then we got to catch one of these contested balls coming up here, at some point. But Chase took Yoshi to the side after that one, and he was looking at him. He waited for Yoshi to come back the whole way because he had his hands up like, what did you just run there? You were not in the right spot, or you did not have the right release, because he started like motioning with his hand on what he was supposed to do. And you see Yoshi's just kind of like nodding with him as they're walking off. And so just communication side on the offensive side as well. Clearly not up to where you need it to be. And again, unrealistic to expect them to be perfect today. But Evan McPherson missing field goals in back-to-back weeks, whether it's an extra point or a easily makeable for his talent field goal in this game, is the difference. And you can't keep doing that if you're going to have players' edge where little mistakes. In a game you don't punt, there's not very many penalties either side. Sure, there was maybe one missed call on that 2-point conversion, but at the end of the day, did it really affect the outcome? Maybe not, right? So it was a clean game overall, but there's still going to be areas where we're going to look at and say they're just not clean enough and tight enough. I think on money downs in the red zone, continues to be a situation where I don't think they're good enough. Yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on the offense. We're gonna probably critique them a little more than they probably deserve.
Yeah, it's hard to be too critical of the offense. And the only thing that I come back to, well, there's two. There's two areas of concern for me on offense after this game. And it's because the Commanders have like the worst defense in the NFL. Well, now maybe that's the Bengals, but coming into this game, it was the Commanders. And that showed up. The Bengals averaged 7.3 yards per play. The Commanders at 6.2 yards per play. The Bengals ran 3 more plays and went for 436 yards. So the Commanders 356 yards. And that was on, a much higher yard per play average. They were averaging 6.2 yards per carry in this game. Zach Moss with a nice cutback, breaking a tackle in the backfield. Joe Burrow getting a block on that play, which is not something we want to see too often, but was a very important block on that particular play. But red zone is one where I'm not very happy with the way things went tonight. One of them is set back when Trent Brown gets hurt. And that's hard to be too upset about, right? You take a sack because Trent Brown's knee gives out in the middle of a play when he's trying to block a guy. That sucks. But then they call a draw play on 2nd and goal from the 14. Didn't like that. And the other area where I'm going to be critical of play calling, which I thought was mostly good. I was pretty into what they were doing on offense in this game from a formation versatility perspective, the consistency of staying with the run because they knew they could run it against this team, that the running plays they got to were diverse and a lot of different looks, good motion. Generally, I thought a creative and innovative game plan that shows some stuff they haven't used yet. But after the T. Higgins fumble that wasn't, when they hurry to the line at the end of the second quarter, Burrow is trying to get them to the line, trying to get a playoff, quickly dumps it down to the flat. And then for some reason, on 2nd and 10, they hurry the snap to get it off with 1 second left in the first quarter, throw it behind the line of scrimmage. They're behind the chains. And I think this directly leads to Evan McPherson's missed field goal. That's that drive. The only drive of the night for either team that didn't end in points outside of the kneel downs was because they had to rush 2 plays because T. Higgins may or may not have put the ball on the ground. And the first one, fine. You want to make sure they don't challenge. I don't have a problem with that. Ideally, and it'll be curious to see on tape whether Joe's checking down sometimes when he doesn't need to again, because protection was pretty good again tonight. Again, nitpicking there, right? But then the next play after that, why are we snapping the ball? Unless you love the play. And from what I could tell, there was no reason to love the play. Just get into the quarter and reset coming into the second quarter. And that could be a big difference in the game, right? Between that and the Gesicki ball. I think that's the same drive. Yeah, that's the same drive. The Gesicki ball is the very next play. Tough play for Mike. You got to make tough plays to win sometimes. And I keep coming back to that. It's a very difficult play. The Jamar Chase drop on a low ball from Burrow, not a perfect throw, could have caught the ball. You got a couple plays like that, but that's a really nitpicking. When your offense scores 33 and 34 in a regular game because they don't go for 2, right? Can't be too upset about that. And 37, right? If they don't miss kicks, you're looking squarely at the defense. We know 100% of the problem and the focus after this game needs to be on that side of the ball.
And if people didn't watch the first 5 minutes of the show, we completely destroyed the defense. And so, if people may be saying, why are you killing the offense right now? But we've spent plenty of time on D, and we don't feel there's actually some hope coming, right? Is it coming in Miles Murphy? Maybe we'll get a little bit of Murphy's year 2 leap, and that'd be great. We didn't get it from Joseph Osai again, with another disappointment from preseason and going into the regular season. Do we expect rookie defensive tackles to save the defensive line room? I don't. And maybe Jordan Battle plays. Maybe DJ Turner plays a little bit more and gets mixed in with Dax Hill, and they do more of a rotation there. But those feel like very sad hopes to pin the defense on.
Well, even if Chris Jenkins is good for a rookie DT, he's not going to be Dexter Lawrence or Geno Atkins or DJ Reader or whatever great nose tackle has been featured on this or other teams that makes their defenses go. The Bengals have one player like that on defense. It's Trey Hendrickson. And the linebackers have been a little bit better this year, but not consistent enough. Somebody in chat was mad that I was pinning this on the defense. They must have missed the early part of the show when I was as fired up as I could ever be about how bad this defense was. That the defensive line aren't NFL caliber players. A lot of people are mad at the coaching staff, and let's talk about that quickly, and then we'll get to the giveaways. People are mad at Lou and a couple of Zach Taylor play calls because there are always going to be people mad at Zach Taylor play calls. Defensive game plan. I mean, they sold out to stop the run. And that's because of the talent issue they have. I'm more upset about the roster construction than I am about Lou. And they did stop the run eventually. But could they have done something to make life harder for Jaden Daniels? Could they have blitzed more earlier in the game? Maybe. But they weren't in positions outside of a couple 2nd and 10s where you were in a spot where you could feel good sending a blitz and not having it blow up in your face as it did when he on 4th down, Jaden Daniels stood in there before getting crushed by Geno Stone and delivered the dagger crazy throw, absolutely crazy throw to Terry McLaurin. So what do you think of Lou's game plan? I guess let's make that the final thought here.
Felt similar, differently, but similar outcome to the Mike White game, the famous Mike White game, where they just did not have an answer. Like whatever they were throwing out there just did not work. Washington was able to stay ahead of the sticks for the most part. Because I remember someone saying it, they tweeted at me, I want to say, during the game and said, where's Hendrickson, right? And I'm like, yeah, he's getting doubled. But I also I'm started counting, like, how many true pass sets or true pass rush situations is he actually getting? I'm like, he's not getting any at this point. They are staying ahead of it. Everything's play action. Everything's rolling pocket. And they're letting Daniels do what he does best. He looked much quicker than I remember, too, at LSU. We watched Jaden Daniels a lot because we watched Malik Neighbors and other LSU prospects. And we had similar thoughts, I think, when we did our draft process. But, yeah, I'm sitting there like, there's just no help unless you have a stud that it's less easy to take out of the game. Hendrickson plays one side, right? And he's obviously hobbling. He's getting beat up by a bad left tackle, too. So the one-on-one situations he had, I was like, man, why is he not winning on this? That's when you need other guys. He can't be your savior every single time. It's not feasible. The talent, that's why I'm less on the game plan and more on they sent out terrible players out there and hope for better than this. And we all hope for better than this. This is as bad as it gets, but I think we're in for a long season on defense.
Yeah, I don't see where the answers are coming from on defense. And to reiterate, this is a problem that started when they let Jesse Bates walk, continued when they let DJ Reader walk and didn't do a sufficient job of replacing those guys. And they've invested a ton of draft picks, but those guys are either on IR making their debuts, and it's just not enough. It's just not enough. Joseph Osai doesn't look like anything like the promising player we thought he would be. Jay Tufele is still Jay Tufele. Sam Hubbard is who we feared Sam Hubbard might be too worse often this season. And when, the best PFF grades on your defensive line are Chris Jenkins' 24 snaps and Zach Carter's 40 snaps, that's not great. It's not great. It's actually real bad. And let's let the people get out of here. I'm venting at this point. I have very few good things to say. I have very little optimism at this point, which really sucks because the offense could be really good and they could end up like 500. The offense could actually be totally fine. They could score 30 a week and the defense might never stop anyone again. I mean, it's got to be better next week, but man, I don't know if it's a matchup thing or what the problem was, if it's just that they're too banged up front. It's very hard to find that hope. So hopefully y'all got your Ring of Honor hashtags in. Let's get the WWE belt here given away first, and then we'll get to those bobbleheads, and then we'll get out of here late on the Eastern time zone there. Hopefully some of you guys can calm down and get to bed, and we'll give away our WWE belt here first, and we'll start that drawing. And good luck to everybody who entered. There's a lot of excitement about this one. Remember, next week we've got the Yeti tailgate kit and some Xboxes coming soon after that. And Arif Alam, congratulations. Look for a comment on this YouTube video on the YouTube page, and you can get in touch to claim your prize. We've also got 4 bobblehead sets. Joe Goodberry and Dave Lapham bobbleheads to give away.
We're going to get a Jake Lisco bobblehead in here.
Oh boy,
That's what
wood
the people
pipes. Congratulations. That's number 1. Number 2 coming up here in just, I don't know. How long do these take? Let's time it. 5 seconds?
5 seconds? Longer.
A little bit longer. James Langkop, congratulations. You are number 2. 8 seconds away from our next winner. 2 more sets of bobbleheads here to give away. At least someone is winning something, says KG in the chat. That's right. You can always win something. Gatekeepers, congratulations on your pair of bobbleheads here. Got one more to give away along with that WWE belt that we gave away a little bit earlier. We'll always have something to give away, even, and some of them can win even when the Bengals don't. That will not be a motto, hopefully. And Della Roth, Parenthetical Chris, a longtime listener and follower of Joe and myself, congratulations. You now have Joe's head to flick on your desk or on your coffee table when you're mad at the Bengals and you want to take out your anger somewhere. That is going to wrap up the Jake and Joe Bengals post-game show presented by First Star Logistics. Can't say enough good things about First Star Logistics. Even when the Bengals aren't going well, First Star Logistics is one of the fastest growing companies in Cincinnati. Appreciate everybody for coming to hang out late night on the East Coast. Disappointing start. Huge hole for this team. But we appreciate everybody for coming to join us and spending some time with us here after the game as we vent our thoughts. We'll be back next week, hopefully, with a win to talk about. I mean, I can't talk about too many more losses in a row. This is getting tough, Joe.
We're holding on barely at this point. It's must-win game in Burrow's era, regular season.
Well, they've got a handful of must-win games coming up. You get to 3-3, maybe you can start to hope. But setting 3 weeks on fire, boy. Well, that's going to do it. Like I said, again, you can check us out on the First Star Logistics YouTube page if you missed the beginning of the show when we ripped into this defense as we did throughout the show. And thanks again to First Star Logistics for giving Joe and I a place to vent our thoughts. Thanks for watching, and until next time, have a good one.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.